What's going on, YouTube? It's that black dude, and I am back on the VCA Variety Channel Arena. And I haven't vlogged in a very long time. And congrats for Daddy coming back home, Mr. Orange Man. And so I wanted to cover a little something that is probably on some people's mind. Not many. Mostly just little family and friends, close people who know me, you know. So what am I, literally, when it comes to my politics? Am I a Democrat or a Republican? The short answer is I am neither. I am neither. And let me tell you why. So I stopped being a Democrat long ago. There were just way too many questions about it. The reason I was a Democrat in the first place is because, hey, son, you black, you vote Democrat. That's how it always is. If you look at the election, over 80%, nearly 90% of black folks just vote Democrat. And I always had questions about it, like, why? Well, because the Republican Party is for white people, okay? But there's black Republicans. Well, those black Republicans hate black people too. Okay, that don't really make sense. So if that party is racist and don't like black people, why would they let black people in? And so, since my questions could not be answered, anytime a Republican would get on TV, I would listen, because I'm listening for the hate speech. I am listening for, all right, black folks, us Republicans, we about to put y'all asses back up to slavery. Wee-ha! That's what I'm listening for. And nothing would ever be said like that. I'm like, where's these laws they finna put in place for us black people? Because I'm scared. I was a little dumbass kid. And like, they would never say anything like that. So eventually, later on in life, the way I got into politics, really by pure accident, the precursor to it, there was a guy who warned us about this first black president who was going to basically masquerade as the first black president. He was coming from overseas, which technically he was born in Hawaii. Nope, he was born overseas, born and believe in Kenya, flown to Hawaii, which was American territory, and made an American citizen. He was Kenyan mixed with white, and which made him an American citizen. That he was going to run for president, and they was going to pass him off as the first black president. And the guy at that time, he was adamant, don't vote for him. Y'all need to read on him. This was 2006. And at that time, I didn't give a crap about no politics at all. All I knew back then, I was so damn liberal. It was, well, I'm black. I'm supposed to vote Democrat. And my daddy and them told me that I'm supposed to vote Democrat because I'm black. And that's all I knew. And Bush was bad. And Clinton was a good president. Even though, in the back of my mind, I've always kept, dang, my dad sure was complaining about them gas prices right after Bill Clinton got in. Don't know why 2 and 2 didn't click, but it didn't. But that guy was adamant that we go to this website and read about this guy. And the reading was kind of complicated because I darn sure didn't understand anything. I didn't understand these terrorist organizations this guy was supposed to be tied to. And I'm just like, man, if this guy's a terrorist, who's gonna fall for that? Anyway, put it in the back of my mind, forgot all about it, didn't think about it, didn't listen to no politics. I didn't know the difference between Democrat or Republican, except that I'm black, vote Democrat. Boom, that's it. That's all I needed to know. Eventually, I'm at a dead-end job, doing what I'm doing now, except this ain't quite a dead-end job. But I'm at a dead-end job, not knowing it at the time. And one day I just figured I'm gonna be smart and listen to what them white people listen to. I ain't got that much music. I'm tired of playing my CDs. Flip it on this talk radio and see what they talking about. And so I flipped it on. I'm just going through stations. And I ran into a white guy talking, a black guy talking, a country guy talking, and a gay guy talking. And they were funny as hell. It was the Walton and Johnson show. And they were talking about politics. And I'm like, well, politics is boring, but this show is making it fun. And it's educational. And they talking about the first black president running. Which, again, not putting two and two together, I forgot all about the terrorist guy who was supposed to have been running as the first black president. Forgot all about it. But on this show, they was talking all kinds of shit about him. He wasn't born here. He not really an American citizen. They're talking about Hillary. If my black dumbass was like, hell yeah, Hillary ran. Hillary, the Clintons was a good president. A good team. She gonna make a good president. I'm voting for Hillary. Democrat. And then they was talking crap about the Republicans. So I'm like, well, if they talking about everybody, they probably, a good news source, since they talking about everybody. They're not just favoring one person. So I'm listening to that. Then I'm listening to the news, and they talking mad crap about the black guy who running. They talking decent about Hillary. They talking crap about the Republican. And I still don't know the difference between any of them. And eventually, as the election closes in, Walton and Johnson gave a little history lesson on the Democrat Party. And it made me think long and hard, like, wait a minute. The Democrat Party was for slavery. They voted to keep slavery going. I didn't learn this. Why come I was never told this? You mean the black people used to vote Republican? You mean the Democrat Party voted for the Jim Crow laws? They voted for segregation? They voted for all of this stuff against black people? Wait a minute. They created welfare to keep us in these areas and to keep us poor? They created Planned Parenthood as a way to euthanize the black people? Wow, Lyndon B. Johnson said he'd have us niggers voting Democrat for the next, what was it, 100 years or 200 years, whatever it was. And I'm like, holy shit. I've been voting Democrat, and this is what that party stood for? Boom, no more, not Democrat. And all these candidates suck. Except I still had that one little thing tugging in my heartstring. We could have the first black president. What a dumbass. But I stood out of the 2008 election. But I wasn't claiming, there was no more Democrat. I was not claiming to be a Democrat anymore. I was done. It was like over with. Can't be a Democrat no more. Democrat Party created the KKK. Everything that I stood against, that's what the Democrat Party was. Couldn't do it. But I also didn't want to be responsible for voting the first black president in and then him getting assassinated. See, that's that old school racism. The old racist brain kick in. We got a black president. You know they're going to assassinate him. Man, the stupidity. So, stayed out. Barack Hussein Obama was elected. And of course, that part is history. And now for the mainstream media crap. So, I'm still toggling back and forth between the nightly news and my radio shows. Walton and Johnson. I believe Matt Patrick came on in Houston. Michael Savage. And eventually I found Rush Limbaugh by a total accident. Rush Limbaugh is another one of those guys where they're like, Rush Limbaugh is a racist. Rush Limbaugh said this. Rush Limbaugh said that. And I'm just flipping the stations, right? And I hear somebody, because Walton and Johnson was going off. It was nothing else that I was really listening to afterwards, except for those other shows. So I accidentally find Rush, and I'm like, man, this guy is funny. Who is this? And he happened to be interviewing a black woman, talking about this, that, and the other. And I'm like, man, I'm really enjoying this show. And it said, you're listening to Rush. And I'm like, oh my God, I was told never listen to Rush. He's a racist. He was talking to a black woman. Didn't say anything racist, out of context, nothing. So I'm listening to all my radio shows. Excuse me. I go home, I listen to the news, and the news has just been totally opposite of the stuff on the radio. The radio is talking about how taxes is going to go up. This is still early, like 2008-ish, right after Barack got in. Tax cuts for the rich are going to expire. They're going to start paying their fair share and stuff. Okay, I didn't care. I wasn't rich. And the radio's like, look, that's not just for the rich. Everybody's tax is going to go up. And so I'm like, all right, who's telling the truth? Who's telling the truth? What I can tell you is that at the end of Barack's first 4 years, my paycheck went down from $860 every 2 weeks to $690 fucking dollars every 2 weeks. My vehicle got repossessed. Our lives were turned all the way fuck upside down. One of my kids was born in 2009. And like, man, the shit that the radio hosts were saying, stuff that they was making predictions of, the White House visiting list was made public. And they were like, hey, this guy's got terrorists coming. These people are forming, what was it? The Syrian rebels? The Syrian rebels, they formed them to overthrow Gaddafi. The Syrian rebels turned into the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood turned into, if I'm not mistaken, Hamas. No, not Hamas. I do apologize for that. I misspoke. They turned into ISIS. So you got the Obama administration who basically funded ISIS. Like, I'm listening to all this shit. The TV news is not covering it at all. Like, at all. They're not touching it. And I'm like, what the fudge is going on? Why come the TV news is not talking about it? Well, I tell you why. Because the mainstream media is owned by a bunch of Democrats, which I'm not a part of anymore. So do I turn Republican now? I don't know. Because we don't have any Republicans in. Eventually, Republicans did start talking. They did start getting outraged. But what are they going to do? I can't just join a group that I don't know much of anything about, right? We'll fast forward a few years to when the Republicans had the House and the Senate. Obama's in. He gets his second term. Americans voted him back in again. I actually voted for Romney. I didn't want to vote for Romney because, as the black lady said, Romney sucks! And he does. He still sucks cocks. He's a fucking bootlicking ass, fake ass rhino motherfucker. Fucking cocksucker. Anyways. Still stuck at another dead-end job that I was at for 8 years because I was waiting on Barack ass to get the hell out of there. And I mean, it was rough. We had the Obamacare and shit going, and man, I had so many customers. This was also another medical job. Man, I lost my business. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Man, I lost my insurance. I can't get my oxygen. I can't get my diapers. I can't get my wheelchair. I'm dying. I can't live like this. Customer after customer after customer after customer after customer. And so I watched a lot of people suffer. And Republicans had the House and the Senate. And I like, and they're on these different shows that I'm listening to. These different news publications that I'm listening to. Oh yeah, we're gonna vote this way. We're gonna vote that way. Ted Poe was one of them. Matt Patrick damn near cussed Ted Poe out. Told him, "Don't you come back on my show." Rest in peace, Matt Patrick. And yeah, we're gonna vote this out of the House and Senate. We ended up voting in the first black female Republican. I think she was a senator or congressman or something. Her last name, I believe, was Love. And she was also talking about, yeah, we gonna vote Obamacare out of there. And there were so many people, my customers included, that was like, yes, I can't wait to get rid of it because my child is dying. I can't afford his stuff. I can't afford his food. And as soon as the vote came through to repeal Obamacare, guess what? They voted to keep it going because we still got Obamacare. So that was like 2015-ish. I was like, you know what? I can't be a Republican because these cocksuckers are feckless. So election season came up again, and we had a lot of good candidates. Carson was awesome. Cruz, at least at that time, and not so much Cruz. Carson was freaking awesome. I was really rooting for Carson because there go that little bit of racism again. I remember seeing him at the 09 breakfast, and he had healthcare figured out. Healthcare was something, and is something that is real big for me. So I was really hoping he'd get in there and take care of that, but he did an excellent job with HUD, building community centers where they're teaching black people skills that they can use to go and like do welding and stuff, because welding's a 6-figure job. Shit. And other stuff like that. You'd rather give people a hand up than a hand out, and I totally 100% agree with that. There's some people right down my sidewalk, man. I wish I was working, bro. I don't even know these folks like that, man. It's good to see you going to work every day. I wish I was in your position. Black folks want to go back to work. Some of these folks, anyway. Not every one of them over here in the hood want to sit on their ass. Some of them want to go back to work. And so, you got Carson, who was in HUD, taking money from, like, Pookie and them and Ray Ray, who's smoking dope, and building community centers. Like, we got a community center over there that they ain't doing shit with, where they can be teaching these people all kinds of stuff, and giving them these job placements. That's how I got, that's where I got a lot of my certifications from. Anyways, back to the political stuff. So, election season come up. We got Carson in there. I'm rooting for Carson. Carson campaign sinks because the media, they had that hit piece on him. You got to take out the front runner, right? They took him out over this phrase right here: full-blown scholarship, which is what his school told his mother that he had, a full-blown scholarship. Somebody dug that up and like, wait a minute, his school don't offer full-blown scholarships. They offer, I believe it was GI Bills. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So his campaign manager came on like, yeah, he lied or misspoke, and then they quit and they went and worked for Ted Cruz, which is one of the reasons I really don't care for Ted Cruz. And the school came out and like, well, yeah, that's the language we use, but the news media didn't even make the correction. The dude's campaign sunk. Trump, I didn't really know of him. I just knew he was a celebrity. I had never watched The Apprentice, but every time I heard him speak, I was like, I like the way he speaks. He speaks like a regular person. I like that, but he's just a celebrity. Anyway, became a Trump fan after he kicked everybody's ass on the debate stage. I mean, he spanked the shit out of everybody. Whooped everybody's ass. So it was at that point where I was like, I like Trump. Didn't fall off the turnip truck and be like, I want to be a Republican because Democrats created. Nope. Still not a Republican. For 2 years after Trump was in, and they started the Russia hoax, the radio hoax, including Sean Hannity, they were all over it. It was paid for by Hillary. John McCain, who was a feckless, prick-ass Republican, brought the story to the media's attention. So we're talking about two people who colluded Russia to bring the story over here. And not only that, the FBI was in on it. They were going to and from court with it. All this stuff going on with the FISA courts to bring that warrant up so they can search. I mean, it was some crooked shit. And we're 2 years ahead of it because the radio hosts were on this stuff in real time. The news media didn't come out to years later and say, it was a hoax. But none of the Republicans did anything about it. They didn't come out and be like, yeah, this is hoax. It's bullshit. We know. This was paid for by Fusion. This was paid for by Hillary. Fusion GPS helped out with this here, which was a Russian company. They could have put a stop to all this. They didn't. And for 2 years, Trump tried to get shit done, and I watched the Republicans put a stop to everything that he fucking wanted to do. So I'm like, why would I be a Republican if I'm watching these guys try to stop a sitting president who's also being stopped by the Republicans? One of the most eye-opening things that Trump said was, I have my money, you cannot control me. I don't want your money. That's why you boo me. He said that on the debate stage. So after he's out of office again, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do as a country. Again, I'm not a Republican. I vote Republican because back in the day, they were the party of freeing slaves. Black people were voting that way. Their values do align with my Christian beliefs. I am a Christian, so I do vote that way, but I don't claim to be a Republican, at least not yet. The way the Republican Party is going, I may end up going that route, but I would prefer to stay an independent free thinker. The way they're going, if they keep the momentum up with, say, like J.D. Vance, who used to be a Democrat but has changed his ways, and you had that other chick who used to be a Democrat who came on over, I think there's more value when it comes to people who are coming from one side to the other because they had their eyes open versus people, well, I'm a Republican because my daddy was a Republican and I'm white, so my credit tight, and if you're white, you just be Republican. I don't believe in that. If you're going to be part of a party, they need to align with your values. Here's another thing that it's not always about what's behind a person's name, whether it's a D or whether it's an R. One thing that shocks a lot of people is that even though I am a right-winger, is that I actually like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, I was just watching a clip with him where he was talking about how the Democrat Party had forgotten about the working people. And Bernie Sanders, although he is far left, the guy actually believes in the stuff that he's talking about. So I don't really have a problem with leftists who actually believe that what they're going for is going to fix the country or help the country. Because at the end of the day, whether you got a D or R by your name, if you're trying to do something good, then you're trying to do something good. It's when you're actually trying to destroy the country or trying to cause harm, that's when we got a problem. Like Hussein. It's when you're actually being crooked that we have a problem. Like Romney. So, maybe that clears some things up. Maybe it didn't. Maybe you got more questions, or maybe other people are just wondering. But that's about it. I gotta go in and take a piss. Alright, YouTube. Peace out.